takes a picture of the kitchen.
All right.
He messed everything there. Took everything else and put in the floor.
Right.
Everything.
Door was open, or he knows combination?
Huh?
Door was open, or he knows.
No, it doesn't matter. He can Alaska.
Oh,
How did he come in?
It was open.
Oh, was he in back was open?
ברכת ועדיין אלוהים מלכם שחקנו בדברים.
That's bad. Well,
But the police told Menachem, next time you come, don't even talk to him, just for 911 there. Like, tell him he's here.
What is that?
He left his lighter and himself.
Oh, okay.
He left his phone, yeah, by the way.
Goes the other hand. You can't find the dealer.
Who knows if it's not a stolen thing?
Okay, I am Kotzav Amalach Baruba. So let's get straight to it. Reuven, you here with us?
Yeah.
Come, sit down next to me. Come. No, come sit next to us. It's nice. Okay, here. I don't give it. Okay. Someone asked me this week about blood spots and eggs.
Yeah, not that much today. But because it goes from machine.
So there's a lot of parts to it. About cooking eggs, if they're cooked, if they're already cooked, already fried. Okay, let's just learn a little bit about it, and then we'll talk about Lamaisa, what we do today about eggs, and what do you do about blood spots. It's all about this week's Parsha, because this week's Parsha, it says, Ish mebeis Yisrael, and I get a gor b'seichem, asher yichel kol dam, and asati ponim v'nefesh achel sadam echirati yosem ekerev amo. Kenevesh abosa b'dama, and asati v'lachem al mezbech, l'chapar al nafesh seichem kadamu v'nefesh echapar. Ken amarti l'neisrok v'nefesh v'kom l'tech dam, and I get a gor b'seichem lo yichel dam. Please pen. Morning. Here. I'm not just quoting the pasuk, but the pasuk is going to be very relevant soon when we're going to talk about this lamaisa. Okay. So the Gemara says in Chulin, if you have a drop of blood on the egg, so then you throw out the blood and you eat the rest of the egg. It has to be found on the kesher. So we should have a raw egg and take it. Now I take it out and show. There is a part which is, I assume Tosa is going to make it more complicated, but when you see the eye, this seems like a little bit like a white, like a kesher shel shichva zera. It looks a little that way, a little white thing, and it's sort of usually it's top of the bag that's holding the yellow. So the Yirmiyah says that this koyd adam is a problem when it's nimsa kesher shalom. Panid the story of Iyar Potriki, lo shana nimsa chel boin, nimsa chel moin. I feel a beitza asura. My time at the show the tichlo bekula. That if the blood if it's in the white, it can be makel, but if the blood is on the yellow, then forget about it. Okay, let's just learn right away Tosis. Tosis is going to give a digest of what Rashi says. And Rashi basically saying that Rabbi Yirmiyah and Rabbi Dustoi said the same thing. Now let's read it straight in Tosis. Pirish bekuntus the guy gavna oichel lashar kivin the nimsal kesher v'zera tarnigol lakosher b'reish akad shalabeitza umishom yitzides afroyach maschil. This is really the zed of the tarnigol, is that little white concentrated thing that you see in the egg, that little thing that floats at time. That's where the yitzides afroyach starts. If there should be a little chick that should come, that's where it starts coming from. If it's just sitting on this kesher, you take the kesher and you pick it up with your finger and you throw it out, and the rest of the beitza is mutter. But if you find blood in the rest of the beitza, means that it already spread from there elsewhere. So shod the tichla bekula, it already spread everywhere, and everything is contaminated. There's not, you can't take out. You don't know what to take and what not to take. So the whole bait says also, come on, the shod tichla bekula, pirish neshfashet, hakilkul bekula. So according to Rashi, the story of Yirmiyah said exactly the same thing. That if you find it on the kesher, you take the kesher, you pick it up, you throw it out. But otherwise, it's already spread, so there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, so Tosha says an interesting thing. How come Rabbi Yirmiyah and Rabbi Stoy said different words? They meant the same thing. But really, they meant the same thing. Okay, interesting. Miu, you don't expect Tosha to say such a thing. Well, that's it. Miu, kosher lepirushe. מדברים בפרק דם שחיטה בקריסוס, מבטנו בברייסה, יוצא דם ביצים שאינם עם בוסה, יוצא דם חגובים, שכולי התר. משמע, it's משמע from the Gemara, היכי דשור דם חגובים ודוגים, כל זמן שיש נעליים וניקר שומיהן, הוא הדינמי דם ביצים. The din is that the Torah says that dam chagovim, dogim amuter. Rabbi Chama made a gzeira, if you're going to start drinking dam dogim, people are going to think, so you're drinking. But if you're eating a fish and the blood is on it, there's not a problem. Same thing, chagovim, grasshoppers. If you're eating it with the blood, then it's not a problem. Similar to human being, that if a person has, if it's nicker that's coming from you, then it's not a problem. It's only if you put your blood in a cup and then you drink it, so then it's a gzeiris coming because no one knows where it's coming from. Marasign. Okay. So frek Tosfos, it's mashma that the dam that's in an egg is mutter. So Tosfos gives two answers. First answer is v'yeshloimar the medrabon nichmir b'dam beitz gzeida otu dam oiv shabeitza b'mimenu. It's a gzeida. Umederais shari afa b'shafrech noitze misham dan al kasher shalom. Right now it's not basar. This is not basar. This is not basar. What is this? This is not basar. The Torah said that the blood that comes out of flesh, there has to be flesh from a behemoth or a chaya or a oif, from a cow, and the blood that comes from flesh. But this is not blood that's coming from flesh. Now, this is not blood that's also in a Torah. But people don't know. People are not Talmidei Chachamim. Blood is blood is blood. What's the difference if the blood is coming from the chicken or the blood is coming from the egg? So we know it's a big difference because the Torah here. We know there's a difference that the Torah says that it has to be dam bosor, the dam that comes from flesh, and this is not that comes from flesh. But people are not Talmidei Chachamim. They don't know. So people are going to see that you're drinking or eating this blood and say, you're allowed to drink blood. So Chachama made it gzeida. You're not allowed to. Okay, that's one answer of Tosfos. Second answer says Tosfos is the dam shel hakesher also min haTorah. That the blood that's on top of the kesher is really also min haTorah. The choshev min basar. It is basar. This because the chicken comes from the new chick is going to come from this egg. So this is really that little piece that starts life where the chick is going to come from. This little kesher is really has a din of basar. So lagabi basar b'cholov, it doesn't have the din of basar, but lagabi here, lagabi dam that comes from basar, it has the din of basar. It has the din of basar. The Hodesh Shari b'Meseches Krisis dam beitzim hainik she'ein dam bekesher ela b'makam acher she'be'oisei dam ein afreich noitze v'lechoshev min basar. That's not basar. Motzu l'pamim rabbis afilo la'alte samach l'loides habeitza v'oisei dam ein ba ela. It's supposed to be ela. Ein ba ela machmas neshichas tarnagol tarnagolos. They peck each other, and the carnival sometimes the male it hurts the female. So they hurt each other. So it happens that as a result of this stress or sickness, so in the egg will end up being a blood spot. But that blood spot is not the beginning of life. It's nothing. It's a sickness. There's no baby coming from this blood spot. This is nothing. This is not the DNA of a chicken. This is not the beginning of a little chicken. This is garnish. So therefore, that's mutter to eat. So Manashi said if you see dam that's chutz l'kesher, it's also zeh k'sheyeshne big kesher v'nispazer at chutz l'kesher. You could touch it. Tosis is giving a little kvetch anashi. Manashi says that you see, but there's a telltale sign. So there's a little bit of blood here and a little blood on the kesher, and you see like a line or something. There's a telltale sign that it came from the kesher, and now it's spread out in the rest of the egg. Avol k'shein dam klal ala kesher ela b'mokem acher. Mutter kedeprecious, as we just explained. And then Tosis says, based on this chidush, vein lahakshas lafize bas rochi lemaflag avud reba potriki ben chelboin lechelmoin havle lafluge bechelboin gufe ben al kesher shein al kesher. So, if there is such a thing that some blood is actually mutter to eat, why didn't he make a difference? And why didn't avud reba potriki tell us this? That Rabbi Yirmiyah said that if it's on the kesher, the way Rashi is learning it, that if it's on the kesher, it's also, if it's out of the kesher, according to this pshat, it's mutter to eat. So why didn't Avud Berbetika say the same thing? The love pirchi. He's making it because really there's two ksharim. There's a kesher on the chel moin and a kesher on the chel boin, and he wants to tell us that one is more strict and one is less strict. If you look in the egg, we don't see two ksharim. If you take now egg, you're gonna open it. Maybe next week we'll continue a little the shield, bring a couple of raw eggs so we could test. You won't see two ksharim, which is going to lead us to realize that some chumras that we're going to get to in a second. Anyway, let's summarize what Tosis said. Tosis said before we there's two. First of all, there's a machloikis. The blood that's an egg is also the raisa, also the rabbanon. One side is to say that this is not dam that comes from basel. So this is really all also the rabbanon, because to people it looks like blood is blood is blood. So they made exeda. The second mahalach and Tosis says no, that there is such a thing, which is there's a part in the egg which is really considered the beginning of life. It's like dam basel, because that's where the afreich is going to come. So because tomorrow it's going to be basel, so it's as if today it's basel, and that's also min haTorah. Okay, now the difference with the first answer Tosis, the Rosh says, is a kula and a kumar in each one. In the first, the mahalach and Tosis, there is a kula. That's the rabbanon. Obviously, later everything is going to be more easy to deal with. What's the rabbanon? There's also a chumrah. There's no discount. There's no the blood itself. It doesn't matter if it's on the kesher or the rest. It's always also. Question is only at some point we say that the blood spread out and the whole thing is contaminated. And sometimes you can never actually eat blood. Why? It makes sense. Chachamim said it's like zayda. It looks like blood. So why would there ever be anything mutter? It'd always be also. So we're making the first teretz and saying that this whole thing is only the Isa Rabbanon. We're machmir because it makes sense. If it's also the Rabbanon, anything should be also. I don't care if the blood is on the kesher, not on the kesher. It's on the yellow, it's on the white, it's here and there. The blood itself is always also. The question is, if the whole thing got contaminated yet or not. Could you take this, if it's on the kesher, whatever the kesher is, you could pluck it out and throw it in the garbage. Otherwise, we say everything got contaminated. But the actual blood, you can never eat blood, according to the first teretz in Tosis. According to the second teretz in Tosis, it's also min haTorah. So, what did the Torah say? Torah said, dam nefesh. It has to be basar, because that's what the Torah says. It has to be basar. The dam nefesh has to come from basar. So we're saying that tomorrow this egg is gonna be a chicken. So it's this kesher is basar, but the other stuff is not called basar. It's only because the chicken and the rooster got into a fight and they started biting each other. So that's not. And the Chachamim never made any exedas here. We don't know of any exedas that are born on here. So therefore, the blood spot itself has to be thrown out. But there are certain spots that are pasha mutter to eat. So it's a chumrah that's derais, and it's a kula that some blood spots you're allowed to eat. This is all within Tosis. The Rambam and the Rif had a whole different thing. But then they saw that there was a machloikis. And the Abu Rebbe Putriki was not talking about if it's on a kesher. Not like Rashi and Tosas that it was the same thing. It depends if it's on the white or on the yellow. If the blood is on the white of the chicken, it's mutter. If it's on the yellow, it's also. And that's what it comes down to. Now, Shulchan Aruch is going to say, if it's on the kesher or on the rest of the egg, or if it's on the white or on the yellow, yeah. And we paskin like Avru de Rebbe Putriki. That's the yellow, not the white. And Shulchan Aruch, let's read inside. The Shulchan Aruch basically the Machaber is Machmer. Always paskins like the Rambam and the Rif. So he says it depends the yellow or the white. But Ashkenazim or go the Ramah that we're Machmer for both sides, for the Rambam and the Rif and for the Balei HaTosfos. So for Ashkenazim, it's hardly ever going to be that a blood spot is mutter. Hardly ever going to be such a thing that a blood spot is mutter. Now, before reading Shulchan Aruch, a very, very important thing, which hopefully next week we'll explore a little more. The Gemara says, and the Shulchan Aruch is going to bring it later, that there's such a thing, beitzim muzaris, funny eggs. What are the funny eggs? So what are regular eggs? Regular eggs is when there's a zocher and a keva and the coop. There's a male and a female, and the cause of the egg is the male, and the female sits on the egg, and then there is and then from that comes an afroyach, a chick. What's the Gemara says is safna diara. There is fake eggs. What's fake eggs? There's no zocher around. There's no male. So there's no male. So if the female should sit on this egg for a day, for 3 days, for a week, it has to be fertilized by a male. There's no male in town. So this egg is called safna diara. There's no potential for any babies. For any babies. The truth is, theoretically, if you said that it's exeter derabanan, you should be a little more machmer here. But the bottom line is that it's mutter. Because it looks like blood. But we know it's safna dara. That's I said. You would think. That's why I said you would think.
The whole thing of Rabbanan is that the people don't know the difference. So what's the difference if this is that?
Okay, so I hear. I don't know. So we'll
Are most eggs today not fertilized?
So most eggs today are not. Most of it because the farms that are producing eggs, they don't want males around in town. So the little chicks that are born, the males are taken away. They don't want the males. They kill them. They don't need them. They just want to have the females. Why? Because I guess there's a lot of reasons. The females, they make no trouble. They live longer. If the males are around, there's a lot of trouble. The whole process of sitting on an egg and making a new afroyach takes a lot of koyach out of the chicken. So instead of the chicken living a year, chicken's going to live a half a year. Al derech mashal. So the farmers don't want to know of any zachorim. They're very, very careful to select.
Discriminate.
Yeah, they discriminate. Exactly. They only want the females. They don't want the males. They get rid of the males. So the chickens today are all safna de'ara. We'll talk about that in Mitzvah a little more next week. And then we'll talk about if eggs are already cooked or already fried. But let's read now a little bit in the Shulchan Aruch.
You go on vacation, you have to be careful.
Huh?
Depends on where you go on vacation, you have to be careful.
In the Crown Heights Hechsher, do they allow bakeries to buy containers of eggs, or they require them to check their own eggs?
They're allowed to buy that from specific people, especially that they make sure that they put the salt on the same day.
That's an understand. But they let them buy. They let them buy the container. But they do let them buy.
Goy allowed. If I tell Goy to check the egg, is okay?
No. It doesn't help. But
we do it and they check it out, and I tell everyone if you find any blood, I give you a snapper. And you see how they check the egg better than.
Oh no! I said
I give them snapper.
No,
So
it's good.
The place that they did like that, and they showed to me there was a blood spot like that. They wanted the $5, so they put the coloring.
Yeah.
Mexican.
No. I answered quick. If minat Torah, you would have to check it, then it wouldn't help to give them a snapple.
Right.
But since minat Torah, you don't have to check it, especially the eggs today, we have today, safna diara, that the Shulchan Aruch says you don't have to check it, and if you see a drop of blood, you just take out the blood. You
It's
don't
a
even.
kula, right.
So our minig is that we throw out
We throw out
the whole egg.
The whole
Well,
egg.
that's the minig.
But in the past 4 years I worked there, maybe 2 or 3 maybe.
Right. And there's even that. The question is, why is it a minig? But Shulchan Aruch says that the eggs that are safna diara, that you just have to take out the drop of blood. You don't have to throw out the whole egg. So the Shevet Halevi has a beautiful svara why our minig is to throw out the whole egg. The Gismoshe says that's lapel the minig, and if it got mixed in, you can't make that the food is also. But lachatchila you should throw out the whole egg. But what's the reason? The Shevet Halevi says a pashta svara. He says that today that's the thing. The thing is that most farms they get rid of. But what happens? He says, what happens if things will change? What happens if things will change? The truth is now there's a push for organic eggs. Now within organic is a big But exactly, lav dafke organic is organic.
It's big money also.
Organic, right?
It doesn't.
Because it's exactly. But
My wife said, "Okay."
Exactly, it's poshet double the price,
Yeah.
triple the price. But there are organic eggs that are organic. They're coming. They're poshet from coming, and the truth is they can't afford to sell it to you for less than. If it's really less than $10 a dozen or something, they can't make money otherwise. They have schorim, they have nekavis. It's a real farm, and over there you could have a real blood spot. In the organic. But if it's really organic, there has to be that there is really a male and a female. So let's summarize everything we're having over here. So if we should summarize everything here is like this. First, let's go back again to Tosfos. Tosfos says there's two mahalchim. One is that the egg is also the rabon. The blood spot is also the rabon. The other one is that the blood spot is also the eraisa. There's an interesting nafkamina here. One more nafkamina. We discussed once in a shir what happens if they make meat in a petri dish. So if they make, and we talk about basa b'cholov, a lot of the poskim are talking about it today. It's just when the idea came up, people were so thrilled. So they were like, yeah, what would happen if we're gonna make a pound of meat in a petri dish? Are you allowed to cook it with milk? And we discussed that already at that time. But now there's another question. What happens when if they'll start making a mass meat in a production and a petri dish? And now from this dam, this basar has dam. This basar has dam. So do you have to salt it and soak it and take out the dam? Or is it mutter to eat this dam? So I would say the kula is a chumra and the chumra is a kula. If you say that by the egg, the blood spot is really mutter to eat, but the Rabbanan says, it looks like blood, blood is blood, people are going to get confused. Never mind, it's also. So probably the same thing will apply to the meat that comes from the petri dish. Now you can argue with me. You could say Chachamim were not around, that Abashu was not around when they were putting when they were making meat in the petri dish, and the Issa was only on the egg and it was not on the. Okay, but I'm saying there is room to think. But if you say that the reason why the blood spot and the egg is also it's the beginning of life. Because tomorrow this is going to be a chick, tomorrow it's going to be basar. So we're looking today as if it's basar. So this is different. This is not going to be an animal tomorrow. It's not an animal tomorrow. So therefore, it should be mutter that this blood that's being coming out of the meat that's made in the petri dish should be mutter to eat. Anyway, back to our issue. So these are the two things. And if they're not the idea that they had, they thought that they're gonna start producing with a couple of cells. They're gonna start producing hundreds of pounds of meat, and it's gonna be gewalt. The meantime, it never materialized. But Shine, it's a good theoretical question to ask. Back to us. the most of the Rishonim think that the blood spot is only asur the rabbanon, not the iraisa. Dorach HaShulchan says that if you end up having a mixture, let's read it in Shulchan Aruch. Let's read it quickly, and then
when you say that, you're talking about the ones that Zohar and Nekeva, or only the ones that the evidence, or both?
We're talking now the ones Zohar and Nekeva, the ones that today are mamish. Today, when you don't have any males in the chicken coop, so the safna the ada. So really the Shulchan Aruch says that you could eat the egg. You just have to take the drop of blood and throw it out. The poil, our minig is to throw out the entire egg. And not only that, we don't look at where the blood spot is. Is it on the keshet? Is it on the rest? Is it on the white? Is it on the egg? We throw out the whole thing. But the question is when it gets mixed in, if it gets mixed in. And it used to be that in the Jewish homes that they were very makpid to use a specific pot for eggs, and also never to cook less than 3 eggs at a time. What was the reason for this minhag? Because if there should be a blood spot, that at least it's bottle chad betrei. We're not choshech every egg, so we're saying maybe. So if we have 3 eggs, one. The truth is, there's no way to know after it's cooked. I can't say mamish there's no way to know, but bottom line is that in Sif Vov, the Yad Ephraim says that Reb Chaim Vital, he brings Reb Chaim Vital, that Reb Chaim Vital said Eidus, that if it was a cooked or fried egg, that is, I would eat it without checking it. Now, everyone that was Zoycha to be at the Seder, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, knows that the Rebbe would crack, would take off the peel, and he would dip the egg in the salt water and never checked it. So that's an interesting. So why? But we'll talk about it next week a little more. The pashtus is once it's cooked. How are you going to know if it's a blood spot or not a blood spot? There's no point. So we're relying today, especially. But even the days of Chazal when they were real, when the eggs had real blood spots, we're relying that the roiv have no blood spots. Now, when there's a mixture, the Aruch HaShulchan says there is sveikus, sveikus. If there is a mixture and there is if he has a whole bowl, if he has a lot of eggs, raw eggs, and so obviously he's going to take out the blood spot. But how about saying that everything is also? So he says there's a lot of sveikus. And our minig is to be makel as long as there's at least 3 eggs in the mixture. Yeah.
In terms of just understand the basic Matthias, how is it that only some eggs have a blood spot? Just understand what's going on there. Some eggs have a blood spot
because this female is sitting on the egg, and presumably this is the beginning of life, that there is a blood spot, and then it forms, and then it grows and it develops, and eventually
it should have a blood spot then.
No, because the chick has to sit on it first.
Okay. So the eggs that word sat on.
Not only they have to sit. We'll talk maybe next week about.
Every egg have to be sat on?
No, it's produced.
Okay.
Number one.
All right.
And then the chicken has to decide it wants to sit on it, and we'll talk about it a little bit next.
So only some eggs got sat on.
Yeah, and even the ones that sit on, sometimes the chick decides, you know what, forget about it. So the chick sits
so
on.
It's not ma'akev in egg.
In
terms of
in order to get a blood spot, you need it.
Of it getting to our table to be eaten, it doesn't have to be sat on in terms of the production.
No. The chicken lays an egg, and then it rolls right out. But today, it rolls right out. They make it with a slant.
Isn't the whole egg made with machine?
Yeah, no. The chicken still has to produce the egg. It rolls right out. Because they make it with a slant and it goes out the chicken. But I'm saying what happened was in the old days that you needed to be a zocher around the male, and the male made sure that this egg was worthy to have to be sat on, and then a chicken will come out of it. Then the female has to decide to sit on the egg, and the poskim say that in the first 24 hours nothing happens. So if you grab the egg away and you know it's in the first Beitz of Asiyama, you have no problem. And after 24 hours, that's when the blood spot starts forming, and then whatever 3 to 5 days it takes, and it sits on the eggs, I mean, today they do it in
And
an
you could do it
incubator.
This industrial process, the chicken is sitting on some eggs.
No.
So then if no eggs are being sat on, then
And there's no
blood
zakonim.
spot. There should be no blood spots.
Oh, so you asked a good question.
That's why I needed to
Some-
see it first.
So you're asking a good question. So some person say, oh, where's that blood spot coming from?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Mhm.
Like, what are we driving at?
So if you look at the second answer of Toysus thinks that the blood spot could be a fluke also. You could have a fluke. You can have that the chickens were pecking each other. It's a sickness. It's not this is nothing to do. This is a fake blood spot. It's not real blood spot.
There's another question on Toysfest. You look at a regular egg today and a regular egg from male and female. You see that kesher also or not? Because Toysfest says that kesher is the beginning of, if this is from the zera of the male, and this is called already something is going to be bossa. But the truth is that nowadays we see probably it's the same thing, but there's no male. So
Okay, so I'll put it on hold. Lina, that will finish off next week, because I have to wrap it. So we'll put it on hold. We have machloikis in Toysus. It's the Deraisa Derabonon. We have the machloikis the Rishonim. If it's the Deraisa Derabonon, we have the machloikis at the white, the yellow, the kesher, if it's spread. Lepoil, Shulchan Aruch says when you see a blood spot in a chicken, you see a blood spot in an egg, you throw out the entire egg. And next week we'll continue about when they get mixed into other eggs. We'll talk a little bit about our meaning of cooking 3 eggs, and then about eating eggs that are ready. I just want to cover 2 shilas someone asked me this week.
Very quickly, how do you have an egg? You can bake it. How do you make egg? There's no milk.
The Eibishter made that the Nekeba could
And you
still
don't
make
eat-
produce. Yeah,
Then you don't need,
Yeah.
the male was there before.
no,
Not
the
very
Eibishter
often.
yeah.
then
That's
the
the Eibishter.
Nekever has to give her part, and the Zohar her part. His part.
But he didn't do it.
She gave her part.
Yeah, and they turn the lights on and off.
Yes,
Unless
yeah.
it's 20. The chicken's like,
It's not.
it's,
If there was no, in other words, if there was no union, then how do you get an egg?
you know what?
Come in.
I just want to finish it off. We'll have the next week.
Okay.
Someone asked me, why is it that by Chabad they're so makbid to put the right over left? The Mendel Rimenov says that this is a very big thing. And the truth is, if you see pictures of Jewish people and of early soul of Amol, it'll always be the right over the left. Gemara says that you should always give chshivas to the right, but api chassidus, the idea is that in life, Yamin represents chesed and Smoil represents Gevura. And we always want to strengthen the chesed, even though in this world we need both. We need chesed and we need Gevura. We need boundaries, limitations. You need Gevura, you also need chesed. But we always want to strengthen the chesed over Gevura. So, as I said, if you look at pictures of Gedolei Yisrael of yesteryear, you're always going to see that the right side is over the left side. So there really is a big thing in it. Someone called me, another question. Someone called me this week. It was Monday. I just got off the plane. I came from Brazil. When do I do a goimel? So let's read it in the last piece here. The Alter Rebbe says, this is the way it's in Shulchan Aruch, if a person didn't yet say a goimel, he could do it at any time. The best thing is never to wait more than 3 days. If you went out of a danger and it's on a Monday after Kriyas HaTorah, even though the Arminic is, I should do mincha Monday afternoon, even though,
By Shabbos is not all days.
huh?
By Shabbos is
Pashtus, yeah.
You could do it at Myrav also?
Yeah. There's some that have a discussion about it by night because it's like a korban toidish, you should do it by day. But Pashtus, Shulchan Aruch is not machalik.
But by Thursday it doesn't 3 days.
No, it was on Monday. He called me Monday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
He called me Monday.
So Monday afternoon, Thursday morning is the same 3 days.
Okay. He landed in the morning.
So you couldn't make it to the
Right,
go.
Okay, let's leave it this. Mitzvah Shem.
Where in Mitzvah, what does he, when does he say it?
Yeah, it's 10 people to come around. There's 10 people are there by Mitzvah.
No, some women do it. Most women don't do it. If you're having to talk a moment about,
So remind me next week, and Blineda will talk about the women doing it.
okay.
Jimmy, how would you change kesher?
Kesher.
The,
Pashtus a kesher means a knot.
that's usually, no, what is it by an egg?
there's that like white thing that you see. I'll bring Blina the next week, a thing. I'll bring a couple of eggs and we'll break the eggs. We'll see. No, I don't know in New Jersey. Zorach has a chicken coop in his house. And I think so, yeah. So we
Not in the house, outside of the house.
Okay, maybe shall helfen. We're coming from a special. Today is a special day. Today is Beis Iyar Tiferes Shebetiferes. Lechatchila Ariber. So maybe shall helfen that in this month our avodas Hashem should be Lechatchila Ariber. Hatzlacha.
How many watch? How many guys watch? Okay, we have 10.
Jump.
Go ahead. We have 10.
Yeah, 10? Why we down to?
What time?
We don't have 10. There is 4 and here's 3.